I remember many years ago when we left our homes, going to a different country, looking for perhaps a better life, looking to do something with ourselves. We were young men. I found myself living in a house with many other men like myself. I was just about 20, perhaps 20 something years old, very young, early 20s. It was first time for me to experience winter like that during winter time, very, very cold. You know, coming from a tropical country, you go to a different country where it's extremely cold and you shocked. Okay, like, wow, this is how it feels. It's crazy. But then we lived in a house where there were many guys, many people, and one of the guys was the owner of the house. I mean, he looked after the house. He was the owner, if you prefer. We all rented at him. We paid money at the end of the month to this guy. His name was, okay, I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to protect him anyway. He's going to see this video and probably going to laugh. So what happened is, in one occasion, it was so cold, like so cold, that I had to buy an extra blanket from him. I'm like, okay, dude, you have an extra blanket? I see that. He said, hey, I can sell it to you if you like it. I'm like, yeah, please, can you sell it to me? He sold me the blanket. I took the blanket. I was very happy. I'm like, okay, now I got an extra blanket I can use to sleep with. So a couple of days later, I came back at night, coming from work, got home, found one of the other guys sleeping with my blanket, what I considered my blanket, at least at that time. So I asked him, can I have my blanket? He's like, hey, dude, let me sleep. I'm like, please, can I get my blanket? It's extremely cold. It's winter time. Please give me my blanket. I want to sleep. He got really upset with me. Like, why are you waking me up? Stop. So then I get upset too. I'm like, I need my blanket to sleep. I paid money for the blanket. The guy got very upset with me. So we almost fought each other. He says, it's my blanket. I'm like, no, it's mine. I bought it from the owner of the house. He's like, no, it's my blanket. I bought this blanket. So finally I said, okay, you know what can we do? Let's call him so we can stop this matter, so we can find a solution to it. We called him. Sorry, Philip, I have to say your name. We call him, Philip, please come tell us, whose blanket is this? You know what he did? He just looked at us and like, dude, please resolve your issues between you two. It's none of my business. He walked off. Now, there was absolutely nothing we could have done about it because he is the owner of the house. At least he is the face renting the house and we're renting by him. If you dare say something that's out of line, he's going to just kick you out and then you're going to sleep in the street. And that's even worse than the situation you were in. So we found ourselves in winter, fighting for a blanket we both paid for. Crazy, isn't it? Well, we are in Zambia. Thank you very much. I'm sure there's a button in your name, subscribe. Press it if you like. I'm sure we're going to like each other. We are in Zambia. Interestingly, you're going to understand why I'm narrating the story to you. Zambia Foreign Minister Stanley Kakubo has quit after he was allegedly caught on video receiving a stack of cash from a Chinese businessman. Again, this is Africa for you. And a video been circulating online. He did not deny it. Okay, he took the money, a lot of money in cash. And he says this was a malicious attempt to discredit his government. But instead, Mr. Kakubo said he was facing a malicious claim over a business transaction and had resigned so that the government was not distracted by the controversy. So he has resigned. So there are many things happening here. Number one, he has resigned. Okay, many African people do not resign. They don't. In many African nations, when you're in power, you're in politics, as a foreign minister, you do not resign. The proof is in the pudding. There's a man in the Congo who, he had a video doing things with a lady. You can imagine what it is. He did not resign. Why? Because why are we going to what? That's an amazing opportunity for the family. There's no way to let that go. So this Zambian foreign minister decided to resign. The video showed two men sitting at a table counting neatly stacks of cash, both in dollars and Zambian kwacha. It's a lot of money. So they say apparently he was receiving about $50,000 from this businessman from China. And apparently, he was selling a part of his personal mine. Yeah, his personal mine. Some people in Africa have mines. Yeah, mines. Let me just remind you here that China has invested about $1.8 billion into Zambia, into, mining cobalt and many other things. Zambia is rich in many minerals. Cobalt is one of them. So China really mines a lot. So many Chinese people in Zambia helping develop Zambia, depending on how you want to see it. Some people feel like China is actually stealing, like robbing Zambia in a way that's never been before.
The challenge that I can honestly tell you is that a lot of agreements that Zambia has with China are not transparent.
Some people feel like, well, even though they're robbing, they're also constructing, they're building infrastructure for the Zambian people. You know what I mean? So this person, apparently, the reason why the video is online is because apparently Mr. Kakubo, ex-foreign minister now, has tried to sell his mine to two different businessmen. Just like my story, he sold the mine to one first businessman, and I was trying to sell the mine to the second businessman. And businessman number one was not very happy about that. Okay, and very maliciously, as you can see, the camera shows clearly this is a person, filming as a hidden camera. That's a hidden camera.
It's 50,000.
You can get these hidden cameras in many places, especially in China malls. I'm sure you have a China mall or a China market in your country. You find them everywhere in Africa, in Kenya, South Africa, Zambia. You find China institutions, markets and stuff. So this is a hidden camera from a Chinese national, paying money, about $50,000. The amount due was $200,000. So they did not just give $50,000. They also gave him a Mercedes. Okay. So they unveil that, a written document says it was supposed to be $50,000 plus another $50,000. So that's $100,000 plus a Mercedes. An exchange between the Zambian and Chinese mining company. Okay. So because that Chinese person was like, okay, you know what? You're not going to steal from me this time around. He certainly probably already had been stolen from. I mean, who thinks about bringing a hidden camera in a transaction like that? It means you've been through some stuff before, right? You got some experience. And trust me, in some part of Africa, if you're not very clever, they're going to ask you, what money? What money are you talking about? Excuse me, was it me? Look at me again. Me? Yeah, they're going to do that to you. So sometimes you have to adjust. You need to level up to the level of manipulation that's probable. So you bring all sort of, protection. So again, Mr. Stanley Kakubo, foreign minister of Zambia, has resigned because he was trying allegedly to sell his mine to two different businesses. And obviously people, are outraged. Why isn't this being done through the banks? Okay. Why isn't this being done through the banks? Why do you have to count cash like that? Is this honest? Did you pay the tax due to the amount of money? Is this legal at all? So he said he's resigned. Why? Because he doesn't want to dent the reputation of the government. But he's going to remain an agent or a parliamentarian, working as an MP for the government. So this is very interesting, fellas. Okay. Corruption and underhanded businesses are one of the reasons why Africa isn't moving forward. Okay. Chinese embassy said in 2022 that more than 600 Chinese businesses had invested more than $3 billion in Zambia. Okay. Yeah, the investments of China is evident in Zambia. If you go to the airport, by the time you land, you can see China. You can see the writings on the walls. You can see the boards in the streets in Chinese. Yeah. I don't know if it's a good look. I understand China in many countries are doing some good work. They're building railroad, they're building some highway, freeway, whatever, malls, hotels. It's good, but to what extent, to what exchange, what are they getting in return? That's a good question. Beside the minings, beside the resources, what are they getting in return? Okay. China can give you money as much as you like. We all know that. But can you reimburse? Because if you cannot reimburse China's money, they're coming for you. Okay, China now wants to have its police all over the world.
The Johannesburg Metro Police and the Chinese police have strengthened ties between them and vowed to help each other fight crime.
They want to have the military stationed in Africa. Why do they want the military in Africa? It's very simple. In case you do not pay your money and you think you're tough, they're going to respond to you in a way that's according. Okay, so how does Africa avoid this type of situations? Okay, how do we avoid this type of situation? How do we grow from this? What do we learn from this? You cannot sell one business to two people. That's number one. Do not do that. Doesn't work. It's dishonest. You cannot do that. You can't do that. Number two, you cannot try to beat government and the people. You need to pay tax, on this business. If this business is yours, actually, if the mine is yours, you should be transparent. And you cannot lead people while you're not transparent. How do you expect people to be transparent if you as a leader, you're not? Now, rather not be a leader and be a crook, that's fine, but you cannot be a leader and trying to be a crook and expect the normal John Doe to be decent. It doesn't work like that. This is one of the biggest problems in most Africa. Okay, a lot of Africans don't know how to resign. When you do wrong, you need to resign. Say, okay, I'm sorry. That's it. I'm resigning. Props to George Weah. George Weah, you know George Weah, the soccer player who became president in Liberia. After the elections, even though it was very tight, he said, okay, you know what? Goodbye. Thank you very much. I'm going to let the country prevail over me. The country first. Let's not get, blood on the floor in the name of greed. Okay, that's a good leadership sign. That's a good person. And like I said before, maybe because he was a soccer player, maybe because he had made money already in sports. That's why he doesn't really care. He doesn't jump up like many African presidents here. Like, you will rarely hear African president lose by election. You will rarely hear an African president lose by elections. Rarely. There's always issues. The army is going to come down the street. I mean, if you know people voted for you, why would you send the army in the street? Dishonesty and greed. So, yeah, the Chinese national said Mr. Kakubo has to reimburse the money. He must pay the money back. They want their money back. Number two, he must pay or return the Mercedes. Return the Mercedes. It's crazy. Let me know how you feel about this. How do we resolve this? How can Africa move forward if the mentality is not honest? What do you think is the way to go about this? I'm very interested to know from you. God bless.